these chicks have been talking smack about me for months. For months, they've been tweeting at me. They've been saying, Pearl, 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 I am the ultimate trad. I am the CEO of trad. And now we're going to debate. I don't really know what we're going to debate. I think marriage, maybe. Maybe men cheating. I think that, because I said that men cheating shouldn't be the end of the world. Why is it that big of a deal? I mean, and this pissed him off. You want to make it a big deal in your marriage? Go ahead, it's not my problem. Anyways, I'm going out. And I'm gonna go and I'm gonna destroy it. I'm gonna kill it. And then I'm gonna go back to Dallas. So that's all I got right now. I can't think of anything else.
How long was the flight?
The flight was 2.5 hours. Got delayed 2 hours because there was a storm. But yeah, it was 2.5.
What are you expecting from this trip?
So I'm gonna go. Apparently there's this Orthodox Jewish couple. I heard Jewish people have money, so I need more Jewish friends. Just kidding. I'm kidding, all right, guys? The internet takes things very seriously. Anyways, going to this Orthodox Jewish couple. They're gonna tell me why I should be Jewish. I'm excited. Then I have a debate where I'm going to argue that marriage is a bad deal for men. It's a bad deal. If I was a guy, I would never get married. But I'm a woman. So it's fine for me. But yeah, and I'm going to go argue, and then I'm going to come back. And then I'm going to go home. It's going to be amazing. Wow. I'm like, they had like a whole skate park and stuff. I'm like,
Man.
do they still have one or no?
Yeah, we have one.
Oh, okay, wow.
So we built a whole building. It's like 10,000 square feet. The first floor is a massive skate park. The second floor is the green room / studios on the other side. And then on top of that is like a workout area.
Wow. Yeah. I know the look, 'cause it's like basically the short skirt. Like that's like the look I see the most common on like that the OnlyFans models wear, like, but they actually care about what men want, so they end up getting married because one, they're hot enough. If they're ugly, they can pull it off, and two, they pay attention and they know how to get the guys. So so that's what I would analyze that as. They pay so much attention. They pay attention to like the vocal tone that men like.
Yeah.
The way they even pay attention to the way that like men like to see women walking. What average woman does that? No.
Yeah, not that I know.
I don't know how to walk, but so, don't hate the players, hate the game.
Yeah,
Shout out to Riley Reid, but she will divorce. Give her 7 years.
Not even.
Yeah, well,
How long has it been?
I don't know, but I give it 7 years tops. They always divorce when the youngest kid hits preschool.
That's interesting because that tends to be true.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just in general.
Well, and I think they're going to argue with me that there's enough wives to go around. And I could even argue, okay, let's take the 4 conservative women at this table tomorrow.
Yeah.
One of them has nudes on the internet.
Who's
One
that?
of them, Isabella Moody. She's got, I like her.
So I've heard.
No offense to her. I've seen them. I know she does. They're like half nude pictures on the internet. No offense. I'm just being honest here.
Yeah.
Another one has kids with 2 different guys.
Huh?
Lauren Chen didn't take her husband's last name. So that's not traditional. And, I'm an athlete, and, I had a super public ex-boyfriend that people will tweet at whoever I marry forever. So, unfortunately, but this is the quality of the conservative women.
I mean,
what does that say about the general population?
well, that's a good point. Yeah.
So if we're going to say, oh, just find you a good Christian woman, and it's no hate, I'm not even saying I'm better than them. I'm saying, like, this is the pool.
Yep.
This is the cream of the crop. This isn't good, ladies. We're not winning here. So,
What's a good way forward then?
Well, there's no solutions. That's the problem. For a decade, you have one kid. What happened? My parents did family planning, and I have 9 siblings, so I know that doesn't work well. I just don't believe it.
That's a nice big family.
Yeah, it is. It's huge. They adopted 3 though, so 7 were like natural. And I gotta bring up the receipts. A lot of these people talk shit about me the last couple months. I gotta bring up. I'm gonna read the tweets. Let's say, look, this is what you said. OnlyFans whores telling me they're gonna pray for me.
Wow.
No, I'm like that's what they do, because whenever I say this stuff, they're like, we'll pray for you. I'm like, why don't you just tell me to go fuck yourself?
Here, actually, real quick, let me see that pen. Can I take this? I'm just gonna make sure it's gonna go.
Is there a restroom around?
Yes, we have one right here and downstairs as well.
It's a space toilet. Baby.
That's massive.
Is there a basketball court too here? Or no?
Unfortunately not. I don't know why.
I only asked
you have
this
the
last time there
space.
was one.
Yeah. Isabella, can I get your signature on this?
Yes.
I missed the basketball hoop. I was gonna shoot.
Yeah, we should get one. That's a good
Yeah.
point. When you saying that,
Oh my god, you were retarded.
because I said, "Tell me I'm the best." I said, "You are the best," and I said, "Why am I the best?" And it's like your insight in this conversation is invaluable and unparalleled. And I said, "If I am the best, it would imply that others are inferior." No. And I was like, "Well, how can I be the best if others?
Thanks.
If there's berry mint, that's a mint one. I don't know if you like mint. But I hate mint. But I was like, how can I be the best
This is good.
and others not be inferior? And no matter what you ask it, it keeps saying, you're the best, but we can't call other people inferior. And I'm like, but you literally are when you call me the best.
Is it woke?
Yes.
Oh, jeez.
It did say that Trump called Mexicans rapists and that black people can't get IDs.
Oh.
I saw some people trying to play with it about Holocaust numbers.
Oh.
How long does it take to cremate this many bodies? How many ovens were there at this location? Yeah.
Oh, I have a question for you. Since Kanye and Nick Fuentes are hanging out again.
They are?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would you have them back on the show?
No.
Okay.
Ye has nothing to say. Go means go? Yep. All right.
But you'd have an advantage with your reach.
All right. You guys ready? 3, 2, 1. How's it going, everybody? Welcome to the Culture War Podcast. We're going to have a debate on the nature of men and women, as well as trad life and trad wives, and whatever that means, I suppose. So this is obviously coming from these ongoing debates on YouTube and Twitter between different views of the role of women in society. And we did have like a little conversation about this a couple weeks ago, but now we have a larger debate going on. But we'll just start from the left and go to the right if you would like to introduce yourself.
Children, and we deserve our respect. Then you have white knights, and they're like, women can never do anything wrong.
Yeah.
So what's going on? What's the contentious issue? Do we start with like the role of women? Lauren, your view, Pearl, your view. I know that there's a lot of conversation on X.
Sure. Well, I mean, just to get started, so I don't disagree with everything Pearl says, but I feel like Pearl is someone who, I mean, I want to hear your thoughts on this. I feel like you kind of enrage bait people with your posts because you'll post something really like a super hot take on Twitter, and then like you'll make a video about it, and the video in turn is a lot more nuanced, a lot more, I guess, rational. So sometimes I feel like I'm trying to I'm struggling to see like what your actual views are versus maybe what gets the most traction on X. So I'm excited for this to have a conversation about it. But I guess the role of women in society is, you know, to be mothers, to be wives, to support their families. How exactly that looks is going to differ from people to people. That's one of the reasons why I don't necessarily associate with the trad movement. I feel like trad refers to specifically almost the glamorization and in some ways fetishization of maybe like rural 1850s middle America. at least on like what I see on TikTok. Whereas, I'm just a mom who works part-time from home and is basically trying to do whatever I can to help support my family.
Well, I would say there's character limits on X. So, you're not going to get a full opinion with like, I don't know, is it 60 characters? But I don't know, what tweets are you talking about? And I have like 18,000, so I don't know.
Well, we actually I wanted to be specific here because I did pull some of the ones up. I sent them to you. I didn't want to like ambush you or surprise you or anything like that. Let's see.
And the role of women in society. Sorry, I was thinking what the second question was. Well, I think it depends. Like, what do we want it to be, or what is it now?
Right.
And I think right now it's like we're not really doing much. We're not really having kids. We're not really contributing to the economy when you look at output. So it's like, what do we want it to be, or what is it?
So that's interesting because I watched your conversation with Michael Knowles, which I thought was really interesting. And in it, you were very adamant that people need to take responsibility for their own actions. So when it relates to women, it's not really an excuse to say, oh, well, feminism brainwashed me. You still made the decision to sleep around. You still made the decision to get an abortion.
I think if you get an abortion, you're responsible.
Okay.
Right?
Shouldn't we have that same standard when it comes to the rapists, the men? You made a decision, you're responsible. It's not really like, oh, but my single mother. Like many people have.
And they are responsible. They go to jail for it. But you have to look at, there's significant differences between single mother and single father homes. And I can't help but notice that all of the men that seem to lack morals, they were raised by a woman.
The Industrial Revolution is what allowed feminism. If you ever wondered how come women's liberation didn't happen for 2,000, 4,000, 6,000 years before this, it's because technology is the thing that makes it possible for women to feel they're equal with men. Look at this studio. Were any of these lights, this Wi-Fi, these computers, any of this designed by women?
No.
Do the women upkeep it? Do the women build it? No, the men build this technological world that makes us think,
And it's so
oh,
funny.
I can be a career woman. I can be in charge.
It's so funny because women will come on the show and say they don't need men on a microphone that men built in a building that men maintain.
And
Pearl and I are both kind of tomboys. I'm a firearms instructor myself. I teach women basic pistol and concealed carry. And I'd say more than half of my female students do not have the hand strength to load or operate an automatic pistol. They have to use a revolver, something like that. And I think when you grow up doing boy things with boys, you understand and respect that you're not a man.
Well, and playing sports, because I played basketball for 16 years. So if I go do pickup, I gauge with guys, because I'll play with them sometimes, but I know if he played like 1 year of high school, I'm getting beat.
Really, it's up to the men. And I saw your husband talk about how men need to create like men's rights advocacy groups in Washington.
They've had them for over 100+ years. The first men's rights advocacy group was in the early 1900s. The reason that it's so ineffective is because women are the biggest swing voters. And so like that's why I would say women are more responsible for feminism, because most men do not have political power other than one vote. And even if they do vote, women will always outvote men because there's more women than men.
I do think that if more men's advocacy groups arised and more men were like, I'm not going to give women and feminists the time of day, if they're pro-voting, if they're feminists, like make it so unfavorable, bring back shaming to such a high degree, as rabid as the feminists were, where they took over everything. Like,
so I disagree with you. I think women want to be on OnlyFans because they enjoy being whores. So I've interviewed so many sex workers. They just like it. They get off on being naked in front of men. I don't think it's this like the men are giving that like.
But the men are there to be in front of.
Yeah, but they're also there to be in front of when they walk outside. And I see this when I go to Vegas. Women just get naked on the street. Like you see them, they have like stickers over women. I've never seen women fight harder than for anything than the ability to be naked and the ability to be whores. Even if there was no OnlyFans market, like women would still figure out. There's been escorts, prostitutes that's like the world's oldest profession. That's always going to happen. Well, but back to the whose fault is it? I think it's women. I think we're always bringing the blame back to men, but most women vote just because women had the opportunity to leave their husbands. They didn't have to pick it. And I think we're ultimately responsible for the downfall of society. Most men have very little to no political power other than one vote.
So when you look at the birth rates, yes, in the United States, it's below replacement, but look at the conservative birth rate. It's not above replacement. It's not, but it's higher.
Yeah.
Which means that there's this dip happening predominantly among liberal groups and feminist groups.
Yes.
And it's much lighter against conservative groups, which means over a long enough time scale, conservatives rebound, liberals.
You can't make your kid be conservative. And I've seen kids in, maybe this is anecdotal, but I've seen kids with very conservative parents come out very liberal. This is what I would predict in terms of outcomes. Young women have no evidence that they care what men want. When you poll them, they say that they care about men, like they care about traveling more. They care about other things more than men. If I had to predict what the future will be, I would say single parenthood. And I would say that IVF is and women are just gonna have kids older and older. It's actually gonna get to the point where they don't need a man. They can just get a sperm donor.
I think that is also true in relationships. Like, he has friends who are very, very right wing in Quebec, very liberal area. They do not have they are young, they're in shape, they have good jobs. They do not have problem, even this super libby area, finding women to date, because it's true. Like, when you present yourself as the strong masculine man, you have these opinions, women follow.
But it doesn't matter what women say, it matters what they do. And if I had to predict in the next 5 years, again, the system is still the same. Women can still wreck men in family court, so why would it be any different the next generation? I mean, you can say what you want in the dating phase, and there's many women that do. I interview the husbands on the other side. They say one thing and they do another 5 to 7 years in family court.
I'm just saying,
divorce rates are actually going down.
So the only reason it's going down is because COVID set the numbers off.
But look,
that's one. And the average time before marriage is going up.
And nobody's getting married anymore.
And no one's getting married.
This is why casinos make money. Yeah. Most of these games are 49. If the casino has a 50.5% chance to win to your 49.5, they don't care if they lose $1,000 because over the long enough period of time, they make money no matter what.
Yeah, I just think that's selling dreams. Okay, guess. 10 years from now, are there going to be more single mothers or less single mothers? Guess. More or less?
More.
In 10 years, more.
Okay. In 10 years time, wait, I want to go through
It's not going to
these.
happen, like you said, in our lifetime.
Correct.
It's not going to be corrected that quickly. But this I think will accelerate because men are realizing they don't have to play these games and they don't have to participate in the system. And I think one of the biggest problems that we have, and Lauren talked with my husband about this, is the fact that throughout all of human history, marriage used to be a contract between two families. It had sacramental and religious and spiritual significance. It's a contract through the state. It's a license you get at your county. That's 100 years old. This is a very new idea. It failed miserably. We shouldn't be surprised that everyone's getting divorced because who cares about your silly contract through this? It's like a roommate agreement. It's easier to get out of than a cell phone contract.
It's easier.
Meaningless.
It is easier to get out of a marriage than it is to get out of a lease.
It is.
How insane.
It really is.
For women.
But men are going back to like the traditional churches. And I think what they're going to do is they're going to say, I will marry you through my church. We will have an ecclesiastical marriage where our church and our community kind of govern the terms and enforce the contract rather than just going through the state.
Yeah, I just wouldn't predict it because even if you do that, you can't out-religion the state. At the end of the day, the state is still the enforcement arm. And if you have children in this country, they're not yours.
The state doesn't matter. All that matters is cultural enforcement. That's why.
No, it does matter.
That's why it's
matter.
like in Boston, for instance, it's illegal to put a pie on your windowsill on Sunday, but everybody does. There are a bunch of blue laws that exist on the books but are never enforced.
Right.
It's because people fear more social than they do legal. For instance, why are criminals still going around raping and murdering and shooting despite the death penalty? They don't care. But why is it that cancel culture dramatically shifted major parts of our market for the past 10 years, only up until now? Why did Target abandon, in many of their locations, the Pride section? Cultural enforcement is stronger.
But there is no cultural enforcement that shames women for doing that. I can even look at conservatives. I mean, I have a list here of all the conservatives that are divorced. It's not, I mean, look at how we handled the Crowder situation. Look at Lauren Southern. She just got an article written about her poor divorce story. There's no shame, even from conservatives, for divorce.
I think the movement for like abolishing no-fault divorce, though, I think it is gaining traction. I'm hearing about it more and more, and it's partly due to people like you, but I think there are more and more conservatives who weren't really thinking about this. It's not like they supported it, but that it just wasn't on their radar, and I think it's starting to become part of the conversation where, hey, maybe we should talk about this in a way that 10 years ago it wasn't even being mentioned. So I'm actually somewhat hopeful that maybe in the future we could do something about that. I think that is a meaningful change that we could make that would, again, I'm not advocating for state marriage, but for those of people who do care about government marriage but are concerned about that, I think that actually is something we could change.
Yeah, I think it sounds. I hate to be, I hate to be a pessimist. I just don't see any evidence that's happening. That's like we could say, we want that to happen, but it's not like a wish list, Yeah. So I had a question with the Crowder case. I told you I was going to bring this up. Why, you said on stream there's some information behind the scenes, but if you're willing to say, this vague stuff, like what is it?
So officially my stance is, aside from what I've already said, Crowder and I both, I currently work for, and he used to work for Blaze TV. We do actually have, some NDAs and non-disparagements, so I will not be commenting further. And I know that's frustrating, but that's why I'm not.
But then why did you make
I'm on Crowder's side.
Yeah, but why did you make like 5 videos on it if you're going to say now I can't comment?
Oh, I can't comment on what is not publicly available.
Okay.
I can talk about what publicly is out there.
Okay. So publicly, Hillary on video said he wasn't abusive. Why was that not reported on?
About him not being abusive?
Yeah, it was on video.
I mean, I have problems with the way
you had something where you alluded in your video on him that he was abusive after you played the clip of him talking to his wife. So my question is, if you're going to report on that, why did you not report on the video of her saying he wasn't? He wasn't abusive?
Which video you're talking about?
It
was the one that I recently did with Jared?
It was not the one where you did with Jared. I'm saying there was video of Hillary Crowder saying that Stephen was not abusive, and all of the conservatives were super willing to throw him under the bus the last year, make a ton of money off of it, except for Tim.
Was I the only one?
You were the only one who I thought was fair. I really did. I have never been so disappointed in conservatives because
with Stephen, and I think with Stephen, like if it were just his divorce, wouldn't have talked about it, but he is someone who's in this industry who has a pattern of basically blowing up personal relationships. And I think
but that doesn't make him an abuser, right? You can be an asshole, but that doesn't make you abusive.
I definitely don't think he's like physically abusive or anything like that.
Well, yeah, but you alluded that he was like you said that he was abusing his wife in that clip. So if she has a clip that says, hey, he's not, I would think, oh wow, all the conservatives, you guys would be the first to report, except for Tim. He was the only one who did. And it's like, you were willing to make video.
Well, are you asking like the ring cam footage about him?
No, it was video of his wife in court, and she said he was not abusive. This is on camera. The nanny also testified not abusive.
I think my video specifically was about the nanny footage, which to tell your spouse that you do not love them, I do think that's, emotionally abusive.
I wouldn't say that's emotionally abusive. No. And because he says you do not show me love, and what he was referring to in the video, if you really listen, pay attention, and there was a clip cut out, was that she was not showing him love because she didn't listen to him. And it's like trad wives. Why wasn't the question, why didn't you walk the dog like you were told?
Yeah.
But
there's a lot to do with the whole Steven Crowder situation that I'm just not going to comment on publicly.
You were willing to publicly make video after video after video
about what was publicly available.
And sure. so is the nanny footage. Quick
question. Isn't it confirmed that I could be wrong about this, that Crowder's wife deleted a bunch of footage from
over 100? That's important, you would think.
Yeah, that's conservatives. So Actual Justice Warrior did this whole breakdown about it. That's something that Crowder's team is alleging, but I don't know if the court itself has verified or backed it up at this point.
And I'll tell you why I knew it was full of shit when I first heard it, because I've interviewed so many men that have gone through the same exact thing. And what women do is they poison the well for years. So they'll go around to all of his friends and drop little tidbits of abuse. Now, the common ones are emotional abuse, physical abuse. Some throw in the pedo accusation. That's devastating to men. That's a devastating one. They'll say it about their family. So they'll do this for years. Then when they come out and say he's abusive, they have all of these people ready to back them up in white knight. And then typically what you get is an out of context clip that they throw out there. And so I knew what was happening when I first saw the video.
And you can tell from her Twitter that she's obviously a crazy woman. And I personally think emotional abuse is a myth. I know you said
I agree with you
seem to have a different perspective. Would you think emotional abuse is a valid reason to have a divorce if you support no fault divorce?
No, but something can be unacceptable behavior, though, still within a marriage. Absolutely.
But who are you to tell a man how to speak to his wife in his house? Isn't that out of order?
I mean, you do that all the time. You call other men simps all the time.
But I don't tell them how to talk to their wife. That's your business.
That is absolutely not true.
Okay,
there are
name it. Go ahead.
for sure. There are tons of times where there will be actual men in your comments saying disagree, and you call them simps.
When I say simps, it typically means out of order. So typically when I say that, I'm referring to a pattern of behavior where they're putting women on a pedestal. That's typically what I'm describing.
But you'll say that about specific men.
But we're going to the what about. You're changing the topic.
No,
who are you?
No.
It's a different because
it's the same topic.
My original question is, who are you to tell a man how to talk to his wife in his home?
Well, I don't.
Do you think you should be able to tell a man how to talk to his wife in his house?
I think that men should conduct themselves with biblical standards when it comes to.
But answer my question. Do you think it's your place to tell men how to talk to their wives in their home? Answer yes or no.
I think it is perfectly reasonable to say that a man should hold himself to a Christian standard in the home.
Okay, so you do think it's your place. And this is what I mean when I say a lot of conservative women aren't really conservative.
That's true. What it ends up being is woman sad, man mean. Woman sad, man bad.
Because you're first from a biblical point of view, you are supposed to be obedient to your husband in all things. So before conservative women will talk about the disobedience, their first thing is their tone.
Yes, the tone policing.
That's
super
before.
out of control.
But I could show this because there is video after video after video. Not a single conservative woman said, "Oh, hey, she didn't listen to her husband." Mm-hmm. Not one. That's crazy to me. And then we want to say, men go get married to conservative women. Most of them aren't really conservative.
Let's bring up the Lauren Southern story, because I think this was actually a big component of Lauren's story. This article was written, I think it was Unheard. It was written by a woman who got divorced. And in the story, I think one of the issues was Lauren realizing that just being this obedient, good wife to this man wasn't working. He kept threatening to divorce her, and it seemed like nothing was working. That was her. I believe
that's her side of the story.
For sure.
And so I doubt it. You were just okay. Let me get this straight. Okay, so nobody asked question. You were this perfect angel. You were a perfect angel. All you did was listen to your husband, and then he threatened to divorce you all the time. Do you guys hear these stories? You believe this? Come on.
But that's why I mentioned biblical patriarchy. Lauren talks about how even before they were married, he would do things like leave for days on end, like not talk to her. There were red flags.
Why did he leave? And that's what we never talk about. A lot of times when men leave, it is because there is a negative behavior that we don't talk about. Why? For example, what if she cheated? I'm not saying she did. I don't know. What if she cheated? Would that be an acceptable reason for him to leave for 3 days?
I know, but we don't know.
We don't know because
even if that is a red flag, you have a responsibility as a woman to choose to choose a strong leader for yourself. So if you're going into this 4 months and you're already seeing red flags, it's not trad to say, I will marry him anyway. Like, I've not seen Christian dating accounts say, ignore all the red flags.
Are they a Christian couple though?
I think he is.
Is she Christian?
Like
what are we?
Yeah. So, but my point is that I like Lauren, but she was kind of portraying as this is why my trad relationship didn't work out. I don't think it was a trad relationship.
Yeah,
look at that.
No, that's my point. Even trad women do not behave trad.
But what is that?
When I say traditional is family first above all. The family comes first before me. I want to go back to the homeless. And the problem you get with a lot of this stuff is that there's not a lot of studies put into men's issues. So a lot of times what you see with the data is you're not getting the full picture, because most studies that are funded, it's for women, and the government is run by feminists. So there's a guy, he's out of Michigan. His name's Terrence Popp, really, really smart guy. And he actually followed 1,800 divorces in Michigan. And what he did was he found the reason for the divorces, and he actually followed a lot of those men to homeless shelters. And he found that if he goes to homeless shelters, 70% of the men owe child support. A lot of men become homeless because of the system.
Yes.
Yeah. So, but that's my point. But the way you're painting it is like, oh, if they're homeless, that's just a poor life choice.
But I mean, from your own logic, if you have sex with a guy who knocks you up then leaves, that's a poor life choice, right? These are all, we can say, poor life choices to some degree that gets you there. Doesn't absolve the other person of responsibility either, but you are ultimately at least a little bit culpable for the
I'm not saying
situation
they're not
yourself in.
culpable, but what I'm saying is that he shouldn't have to be enslaved for 18 years to a woman because he made a poor life choice. And there's no female equivalent of that.
I mean,
No, because the woman can
being-
always put the guy on child support for the most part.
having to raise a child that perhaps you did not want in single motherhood, some women would say that.
But she still has the choice to abort. And adoption as well. You know, there's a case in Utah where a woman wanted to give up her son for adoption. The husband wanted it. He wanted to raise. He said, "Please let me raise." He had no rights. The kid's gone.
Do you think women should be drafted?
I think as long as we can vote, we should be drafted. I think it's better that we didn't vote.
Agreed.
But I think if you're going to give women the freedom, like as long as we have the freedom, give them the responsibility that comes with it, or you can opt out.
Yeah.
I talked to Vivek Ramaswamy about this a year ago. He doesn't really stand in this position today, but it was a brilliant idea. He said, maybe it should be, if you want to vote, you have to sign up for the selective service. So this doesn't mean you will be drafted, because we haven't had a draft in 50 some odd years. It just means that men and women both would have to say, I am willing to fight when the need arises, and then you're allowed to vote. What would happen? Overwhelmingly, liberals would no longer vote, and women would no longer vote.
Yes.
Pretty much sexuality is at the core of
Yeah.
it. So even we were talking about
Name
podcasts
one
earlier.
pop star who's not a sexual.
Yeah, and as the media becomes more female focused, it becomes way more sexual. Where
Well,
men,
I
it's
think
like
women get their
men-
power from sex. Like
Yeah.
that's how they get
Yes.
into the rooms.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
sleep with their bosses. They get this information. Like that's really the only thing that women have above men is because women control the access to sex.
Right.
So men need to not have sex with these women because that's what's giving these hoes the power.
But
what I love
but most men can't, and that's the problem. Is women get sexual access from a much younger age, and they sleep with a small percentage of men. So most men are not sleeping around. So it's like again, we put the onus on 5-10% of men that get sexual access at a young age, and then it's like conservatives tell men, well, you guys are the bad guys for sleeping around, and the men get to like 22, they look for a wife. None of the women want to be wives. They don't want to marry him. And so you're saying, okay, don't have sex till they're 30?
Yeah.
Good luck. Wait, what's the...
Okay,
what's
so
the,
you have to choose. You're in the woods.
You're lost in the woods. Would you rather be lost with a bear or a man?
Oh, a man?
Okay, but didn't you know that men kill more women than bears every year?
So?
So shouldn't you be safer with the bear?
Yeah, but they also save more women every year when you look at
Right.
the military and
It's
police
woman
officers.
Right. It's
So, I
woman-
mean, most doctors... if
And
you
it's
look at
per capita. it's not-
if
Yeah,
you look
exactly.
at all
But
the-
like we're talking about per capita, right? So the reason why you're still better off choosing the man, even though the bear doesn't kill as many people statistically, is because there's a proximity difference. You're going to be interacting
I've
with
heard this
men
argument.
a lot more
So the
than
argument,
bears.
the argument, I know what you're going to say. The argument is that because women are with children more, they're more likely to kill them again. An excuse, and it's not true because.
And it's actually the likelihood is 52%
So
are
women have but the part you didn't put in there, and this is what they always do. It's always a lie. No offense, but it's that. No, I know what she's going to say. It's you're going to try to argue that it's pretty much equal for men and women abuse, but. If it's a man that abuses the children, it's a stepdad. So whose fault is that? The woman. And so that's the
But
most likely
we
one.
have to take accountability
we're
for
gonna
our
go,
own actions.
and then
If the
we're gonna
stepfather
go.
is abusing,
Then we're gonna go. Yeah.
it's
So
his
the
fault.
woman. No, if the woman. If you. Oh no. And I've interviewed men on the other hand. Oh no. So 1 out of 3 women's had an abortion. So women are the most violent towards kids when they're in the womb. After first year, most likely one to kill the kid, women. And then throughout the kid's life, the most likely one to abuse them is women. So based on that evidence, I would say that men are better with children and more nurturing. Next piece of evidence, single father homes fare statistically better than single mother homes. And I know what they typically like to say is that it's because in cases where fathers get the children, it's extreme, something like that. Okay, fine, but I'm saying the evidence right now is that men are better with children than women. Rachel can also talk more about the data breakdown.
Okay, can I respond?
Yeah.
So the idea that men are better with children because the women who are, again, overwhelmingly low socioeconomic status, the men have gone, that doesn't make them more nurturing. Can you be said?
Say that again.
So
men have gone?
Yeah, like
But
if
why?
you are,
Is it because the woman doesn't want them?
Typically, yeah.
I mean, I don't know what you're
yeah,
basing that off of. Like, especially like.
Okay, so I'm basing it off of, again, the number one reason that women leave is irreconcilable
No, but you're
differences.
talking about marriages. Lower socioeconomic status where these abuse happens, it's not necessarily the case where, oh, we were married and then we got divorced. Especially if you're talking about the Black community. These people were never married in the first place.
Okay, but what is your point?
The point is you can't say that someone is more nurturing when they don't even show up in the first place. When you don't even take the role of caregiver in the first place. And it's the same thing you mentioned. Women are more likely to kill the elderly. It's again because women are overrepresented in elderly workers.
Okay,
if men aren't even taking the jobs.
What evidence do you have that women are more nurturing?
Sorry, go ahead.
So I've
I
given.
was just going to say I have some data that might help clarify this because it's actually a misunderstanding. This was a big feminist talking point for the last 40 years that when we would bring up the statistics of women being the primary people to abuse children in every metric, whether it's like mental, emotional abuse, any type of abuse across the board, that mothers are statistically more likely to do that than fathers. And it doesn't depend on the socioeconomic status, although you're correct that generally the lower socioeconomic status has more abuse. It's proportionally still women regardless of class. And they would say, well, it's because they're the primary caregivers, they spend the most time. But what we've seen over the last 40 years is that as men have gained more parenting time and more custody, you would expect that figure to change somewhat, and it has not. It has stayed exactly the same. And researchers say that the reasons why women are more abusive is not because they spend more time. It's because on average, they're much more likely to be emotionally unstable or have mental health issues. 26% of all adult American women are on at least one psychiatric prescription drug, and men tend to be an emotional stabilization factor. So when you remove the dad from the home, you tend to, yes, there, you could talk about pressures of motherhood and things like that, but it tends to just be that men are the stabilizing, protective force, and women, left to their own devices, are more likely to abuse. And I think that's partially also because men, when they grow up, learn about rough and tumble play. They know where the limits of physicality are. They know that they can hurt somebody if they get carried away. Women don't have those same experiences. We don't wrestle. We don't fist fight like boys do. And so when you're an adult woman and you lose your shit on a little kid who you actually have, you have more strength than, or you have the monopoly on force there, women are more likely to get carried away and lose it with a kid. Same thing in children's prisons, like juvenile facilities. The women tend to be the abusers in those facilities as well.
And pedophiles. I mean, how many teachers are sleeping with students now?
And this is why biblical patriarchy is really the answer, because if we're promoting, I mean, realistically telling people not to get married and stuff, like a lot of the red pill people do kind of advocate for degeneracy. I like Myron, but he does say like men should sleep with 50 women. Mm-hmm. And with that, you're going to get way more broken up families, and we see the detrimental effects on the children, which, roughly 50% of them will be men in the future. And when children are raised by single mothers, the girls actually kind of thrive. They have daddy issues, so they'll probably become a whore, but hey, empowered boss babe, you're thriving in today's society. But they actually do pretty well in school. Boys, they have behavioral problems, they just act out, they're more likely to get into crime, et cetera, et cetera. They're less likely to graduate. That's partly why we see a lot of the women outperforming men in the education systems. So it's actually bad for future men to have single mothers to begin with, and that's why we need to be promoting men having strong leadership. There are things, nothing's foolproof, but there are things that men can do. Like I've seen Tim Gordon say, you have to have your wife promise, like she will always obey you. No, feminists these days are not going to say, I'm going to obey you. I'm not saying it's foolproof. Women are manipulators. They can lie. Oh, yeah. But also another thing you can do is studies have shown in the 90s when divorce rates have skyrocketed, that if you and your wife pray for 5 minutes every single day, that you have a 1 in 1,000 chance of getting a divorce. So again, not perfect, but you can do things that will greatly limit
what if I
odds.
skip a week? And am I still included?
Well, hang on, because I want to go back to the comparison between single mothers and single fathers that you raised, because something that I notice, like when you talk about these issues, is that you have a very literally one-dimensional viewpoint or analysis of it. You're looking at just man versus woman, right? But the thing is, when you actually break down a lot of these outcomes, things like race and socioeconomic factor play a huge role. So you're talking about single mothers, you're talking about abortions,
60%
and then
of abortions are white women.
Let's we'll go through final thoughts. So we can start going left to right. Final thoughts, and then anything you want to mention or shout out as we wrap up.
I will say that my main concern regarding this topic is what's best for men. And what sucks is that men have like a biological drive to want to have offspring, to want to have a family. And it sucks that the way our society is, with feminism infiltrating the entire world, the court system, it's just stacked against men. So I'm constantly trying to figure out and like research and find that what's the best solution for men. And I feel like all of us as women, we shouldn't be telling men what to do, obviously. But I think what we can do is maybe talk about the issues, maybe talk about what men can do to maybe avoid certain bad situations. And also, if we're going to talk about what to tell women to do, is encourage women to become better. And yeah, let's just hope for the best. But yeah, I agree. The future is grim. And also, we should be teaming up against conservative feminists because there's way too many of them and it's obnoxious.
Can we, where can people find you and follow you?
Well, actually, I have like all my accounts deactivated right now for a certain video that went way too viral. So I'm waiting for my husband to allow me to activate it. So far, nothing, but yeah.
Well, all right.
I would say we have to start by correcting the historical record because people think that
Get our book,
feminism,
guys. It's really good.
people think feminism is necessary and that it was a reaction to abuse from the patriarchy. The whole history you think you know is wrong. And if you start with understanding that, it will help you to see things the way that they are and maybe the way that they should be. And we can start getting rid of some of this ridiculous women's liberation, sexual liberation stuff. I think that ultimately, eventually, it will be a self-correcting problem and that generations in the future, I have no idea how long it'll take, but it's going to be a while. It's a cross-generational project that will look back on both democracy, universal suffrage democracy, and feminism as two of the worst experiments in human history, and we will dispense with both. That's my hope. And yeah, if you want to find my stuff, my book is on Amazon. I have Rachel Wilson on YouTube. Occult Feminism, The Secret History of Women's Liberation, goes all the way back to ancient times and then all the way up through modern times with the CIA propagating everything through the Congress for Cultural Freedom and lots of crazy stuff that
guys, get her book. It's an easy read. You can read it in a day, and Rachel is literally a genius, so you guys should definitely get it.
Thank you. And then rwilson.substack.com has a bunch of my writing on it too.
I went to go shoo a fly on the table I thought would move. It did not.
He died.
He died. And
He died.
I've killed a fly with my bare hands.
Wow.
Great. I guess my final thoughts would be that I think men should be and have every right to be discerning. There are women who are not OnlyFans whores out there. Don't let anyone try to say that this is the new normal. It's not normal.
3%.
3%?
Statistically, that don't
Or
have tattoos.
OnlyFans.
That don't have tattoos, dead, or other men's kids. Just guys.
Well, I mean, I think some men want to.
Shout out Aaron Clary.
Shout out Aaron Clary. 3%.
But be discerning. Have your own standards. I don't think a tattoo is necessarily going to be the same level of I am not interested in you as OnlyFans.
It's like 3 or more they counted, so.
3 or more tattoos?
3 or more is the threshold?
Yeah, roughly. I can't remember if it was 3 or 5, but they actually let women get away with 1.
All right, Lauren.
Be discerning. Look at the stats. I mean, if you are a Christian man and you want a sacramental marriage and you pray every day with your family over your wife, the likelihood of you getting divorced is actually quite low. Does that mean you have to do it? No, but I want people to be look at this issue from all sides, from all angles. There are a lot of group differences out there I don't feel like are talked enough about because it's not politically correct to point that they exist. So don't ignore those. And ultimately, my advice to you, if you're just like an atheist and a throuple or whatever, no, don't get married. Don't just expect some government piece of paper to fix everything. Go to church. Find Christ.
Where can we find you?
So I am at the Lauren CHEN on Instagram, Telegram, X, Lauren CHEN channel on YouTube. Also Mediaholic if you want to watch like pop culture movie reviews, and if you're looking for bath and body products, I gave my samples away to Benny Johnson for his wife. But you can check out Mama CHEN's like soaps, body scrubs, and all that at clearlypure.etsy.com, CLEARLYPUR.etsy.com, and we have a Mother's Day sale, so you can use code MOM15 to save money.
I got some. They're great.
Yeah.
So what I would say is many conservatives will try to say that religion is some buffer to divorce, but unfortunately there are no religious women in divorce courts. What you often see is them trying to make a higher and higher threshold where most religious people don't count. You're not real if you don't pray every day, yada, 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 yada. I have seen divorce happen from pastors. I have seen it happen to men that are very religious and do not want to break up the home, but unfortunately, when a woman wants to divorce you, the state will aid her, and it is not, you can't pray a woman that wants to leave into not leaving you. Although that is not my hope. I hope you guys all have happy marriages and have kids. But I just think, I would never downplay the risk of marriage. And yeah, I talk about all this stuff. I have a documentary coming out this year. TheAudacity.network.com is where you can find my website. And sign up for the memberships if you want to help fund the divorce documentary, because I was demonetized 6 months ago. And yeah, that's it.
All right.
And Pearl on YouTube. Sorry, Pearly Things on Twitter.
The last shout I'll give to Actual Justice Warrior. He put in a super chat a while ago. He said, I linked this stream to a male feminist, and an hour later he texted me back saying, what in the world are these B words babbling about? And now he's gay married. Also, hi, Lauren and Isabella.
Hi, Sean.
Shout out to Sean. And this is fantastic. We went a little bit over. I think we could have probably gone forever, but we'll wrap things up. So make sure you subscribe to this channel, Tenet Media. We do the show every Friday morning at 10 a.m. We will be back tonight over at Timcast IRL at 8 p.m. Thank you all so much for hanging out. Smash the like button, and we'll see you all there. And now there's food and poker.
Woohoo!
Any of you play poker?
Yeah.
I used to know how to play, but I don't remember the rules.
My husband's family
Pearl,
is
what do you
obsessed
play?
with it,
Volleyball?
but I
I don't know.
I was gonna ask if you
I
were
play
playing
right side too, but mostly
weak side.
right side sometimes. I can play any pin really.
Are you? But you hit righty.
Yeah, I'm right-handed.
Okay.
But I played middle.
Do I just hit end stream on the recording?
I used to play
Yeah,
basketball.
I'm not
over
FXX.
there, too,
So
but-
what happened? Did we not hit the YouTube button?
No, right is after the intros.
Is
Yeah.
that 2 minutes got cut?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, end stream on there, and
I did
also
hit it.
hit the.
Oh, it's frozen. The stream live is frozen.
Okay,
We're muted anyway. I'll get.
I opened my text and it's like 3 different people texting me about black women and HIV.
Oh, no, black women's stats are at 50. Every time I see a group of black women, I think that half of them have herpes.
You should tweet that. That's a good tweet.
No,
Lisa
I'm not
Reynolds.
allowed that
What
smart.
is it?
Lisa texted me saying, Actual Justice Warrior is begging me to tell you to read his super chat.
Aw.
He didn't need to. I was getting ready to. I was just saving it for the end. Who's hungry?
Sean's great.
We've got 2 different orders of food. I think there's going to be Indian food, maybe sushi, and Salvadoran
Oh,
food.
I like sushi.
I hope this sushi might not be.
Well, I'm not.
Because
whatever.
DoorDash is giving us problems.
Is this mine?
Good. Yeah.
Where's the bathroom? It's over
Everything's
there.
good then?
It's frozen. I don't know if we should just close.
I had a great time.
Even though there are those.
I've had a lot to say, so I'm a little disappointed. Sydney, Lauren, you've been saying I'm ducking you.
Yeah.
I'm here. Where are we gonna do this? What? Sorry, I'm
Oh, you
talking
mean
to
the
the
other
camera.
Lauren?
No, not you. Not
Okay,
you. Sorry. No,
I
not
see.
you. Not you. Sorry. Yeah, Sydney Watson, Lauren Southern. They said I've been ducking them. I'm ready. Come debate. Timcast is available. But I had a great time. I had a lot of fun, and I look forward to tonight. It'll be fun. I could have taken you guys for everything.
You really want to rock those?
Well, that's all I have. I've been using it. So I want to know.
Cover yourself.
What do I wanna do? Okay, I want to be able to go.
Cover yourself, please. I'm not ruining that.
Don't worry.
I'm like, if your scooter or
All right, I want to be able to go.
Brooke did it.
What?
Just did it. Just jump off the back and scooting.
Off the back?
Like this. So the deck is that wide because it fits the ball at my feet, like my toe and my heel,
Okay.
right? It's a little smaller, but I still jump the same. I still go like this. The back is like the place to jump, basically, right? So it's like this. Watch the paddle. Like that. You kind of ramp the shooter. You'll do it.
Wait. Did I do it right or no?
Right.
When it's pretty much, that usually means no.
Get on that box and try and ride up.
Okay. Wait, what?
Guys, come on, swim with me. Right? Push yourself. Then do that same little motion.
Oh no, I can't do that.
Well, I can't see.
Oh, that's too scary. Oh no.
More spring in your step.
What?
A bit more spring in your step. So like a bit
More spring in my step?
Yeah.
Okay.
So the lower you go, the more you and you pull up.
Basically.
Mm.
I like filmers do this, so I don't want to.
Oh my god, I almost had it!
Yeah.
Oh my god, I got the vacuum off!
Yeah! Wow, that was impressive, huh?
I'm impressed with myself.
Yeah, that was good.
Thank you. I'm an athlete, so.
And you're in heels.
What? Yeah, I played basketball too, but I used to run track. I don't know. I'm really into sports. Okay, wait. I almost had it.
Wait, Clark, you swap me and have Red Bull with me?
No, I have the Red Bull.
Oh, I was trying to say.
Well,
There's a secret Red Bull. There's a secret Red Bull out there.
So this is your next YouTube channel.
No. No, I'm not ballsy. I'm not ballsy enough to like. I'm not ballsy enough to do real tricks. It's got to be low risk. If I feel like I'm gonna hurt myself, it's not. You know, I did a vlog once where they tried to teach me how to do a backflip, and it did not go.
Wait, what?
Oh yeah, I did a vlog, and I was like, I'm gonna learn how to do a backflip in a day. I did not learn how to do a backflip in a day.
I can actually imagine.
That was the most tired I have been in a long time.
And how painful was it?
Humans don't. There's no way.
Ready, set.
No, because I know.
See, skateboards scare me.
Yeah. I'm just apprehensive to fall. I think I broke my finger this week.
You broke your finger?
Yeah. Getting a little bit spicy getting this thing over here. No. Yeah. Remember when I fell that day?
Yeah.
Hopping over the rail to this thing? Yeah, I think I broke this finger. I can't tell for sure, but nothing for you to say.
See, when I was in college, I used to scooter to class all the time.
Oh, so you got a hang off it.
Yeah, well, I used to scooter to class, but I always wanted to jump so I would look cool, but I could never do it.
Well, you conquered a level now.
I thought I should have tried it.
It's huge. Now you can go pro. The market is small.
I didn't have to.